Welcome back. You are tuned into the Dating Mechanic Show. I'm your host, Alasha Bennett, the Dating Mechanic. And today we have a special guest. I have a guest that I'm speaking to, Sonya. We'll be right back after these messages. Thank you for tuning in to the Dating Mechanic Show. Don't forget to check out our ice cream. No, not that ice cream, but ice massage cream. Our Silky Shea formula not only soothes and relaxes, but also keeps your skin deeply moisturized. It's perfect for those intimate massage sessions with your partner or simply as a luxurious self-care treat. Want to support the show? You can purchase Ice Massage Cream easily on Amazon or just head over to thedatingmechanic.com.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, turn on your ears and open up your heart because you know dating each other out here today is definitely a fine art. So, to get us off to a great start, please welcome the one and only dating mechanic herself, Miss Alasha Bennett.
We're back and we are on special location. We are at the Bloom Market in Portsmouth, Virginia, and we are on location doing our podcast today with my special guest. The Bloom Market is somewhere where I have my products in, my massage products and creams and sprays that I sell. They're available on Amazon and they're available at thedatingmechanic.com. Go check those out. And visit the Bloom Market. If you are in Portsmouth, Virginia, make sure you come on down. There's plenty of other handmade owners in here of different products. And it's a really great place to come and shop local and shop women-owned and shop Black-owned. Come on in and shop with us. Well. You know, relationships are my thing. If you don't know me, if you're looking at me for the very first time, like I said, my name is Alasha Bennett, lovingly called the Dating Mechanic, and I'm everything relationships. For over 15 years now, I have been coaching individuals, premaritals, and couples to better healthy relationships. And that's all that we talk about. I know that sometimes it can get, it's exciting to talk about all the other, relationship stuff that's happening that's just gossipy. But do you really, really want better relationships? Because if you do, you're in the right place. All right. So we have our special guest with us today. Her name is Sonya Z. She is at Dream Shape Body Contouring Med Spa, but she's also the owner of and founder of Sexy Unicorn. And our topic today is all about professional women. And it's professional women who are trying to find their sexy. And they're really struggling with trying to find their sexy. And we're going to talk about that today. Hi, Sonya.
Hi. Sorry, I'm a little bit hoarse, but I'm here for it, girl.
You're here for it, girl.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your company and what you do, because I find it very interesting.
So I just want to put in my plug for Dream Shape Body Contouring. And that's a business that I co-own with my best friend, Wendy Johnson, and her daughter, Ashley Johnson. We help everyone, not just women, but we help everyone reach their weight loss and wellness goals. And we do that through non-invasive body contouring, but also through accountability coaching and things of that nature. And I'm actually studying nutrition right now. I do have a very vast background in health and wellness, but a lot of my clients, it's not just, working out sometimes. Really, it's the food, it's everything.
Absolutely. And it's inside out.
Yeah.
Right?
And the mindset is the most important part that a lot of people don't realize it has to start there. So, but let's really talk about the Sexy Unicorn.
Yes, please.
Out of all my businesses, I ain't gonna lie, that's my favorite one.
Okay.
That's just my favorite because it's my own personal journey. And, as an only child, I've always just kind of been a people pleaser and a seeker, and it took me a long time to just really realize about validation, that I really don't need anyone's validation to walk in my own purpose, to walk in my own sexy, and that kind of thing. And so in 2019, I was just really going through a lot of different things and just realized that I was pouring from an empty cup, giving away the best parts of myself to everyone else. And just not loving myself. And as a fashion designer, I do have a girlfriend in my network that was like, girl, you a whole fashion designer. You can't be looking like something thrown away. You got to get yourself together, because I wasn't dating. I had been abstinent for about 3 or 4 years at this point. So I wasn't feeling sexy. I was running a business. I was working. I was doing all the things that professional women do, but I wasn't pouring into me. I wasn't embracing my divine feminine energy. And so over that time, I say like towards the end of 2019, I went on a vacation that my best friend, Wendy, took. We went to the Bahamas, and I had time to unplug and really like go to the beach and really go inward. And in 2020 is when the Sexy Unicorn was born. And that happened through a process of me really just delving into some self-love practices and realizing that you don't have to have sex to be sexy. And
well, wait, you can't just skip over that.
Oh, what?
You can't
you don't have to have sex to be sexy.
So we don't want to skip over that, because a lot of women feel like if they're not having sex, that, they're undesirable and that they can't sit in their sexy. It's interesting. We've been talking about divine feminine and being in your feminine for some time now.
Okay.
It's on social media, just everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And women being able to own that feminine part of them, because we're in the work world now.
Yes.
And more of the masculine comes out when you're professionals, when you're professional bosses, when you're owning multiple business and you're, the leaders and owners of those businesses.
Especially if you're in a male dominated business, it's just something about being that bad bee. You can't be soft and nice in the boardroom sometimes. Sometimes you got to come in there as if you do own a set of balls. You know what I'm saying?
And let's be very clear that both men and women have feminine and masculine energy. So we don't want to put it out there that because you're a woman, you only have feminine energy.
You have both.
And that's how, if you are a woman, but you like to hunt, but you like to you like to shoot guns, you like to be the boss.
Yeah.
You have to step into your, into that energy.
Yeah. I mean, but
and that masculine energy in order to take on that role.
But think about it, like for me, I came from a single parent household. I remember my mom told me, I'm your mama, I'm your daddy, I'm your sister, I'm your brother, I'm the Tooth Fairy, I'm the Easter Bunny, I'm Santa Claus, whatever it is, I'm it. The number one thing she said was that I'm not your friend. She was like, you can come and talk to me about everything.
Did she say, I'm not your little friend? Did she add little in there?
I remember she said my little friend, but she made sure that I could talk to her about everything and anything. And, like one of the experiences I remember is when I first got my cycle. The next thing I know, she came home with all these books from the library and some condoms talking about getting to know your body, knowing the opposite sex. My mom was that person, was an educator, so for me, I stopped getting spankings really early. I used to get them talking to, them lectures. I'd be like, Lord, just beat me. I'd rather just stand in the corner or something. But, she always provided information. And I remember my first alcohol drink I had in the house. She was like, I'd rather you, she had like, back in the day, y'all remember when it was like, those wine coolers, Bottles and James, I think it was. And she had like a 3-liter girl and it was in the refrigerator. I was like, well, Mom, what's that? She said, well, it's for grown people, but I'd rather you taste it with me and experience it. And I mean, y'all can't like.
But I mean, she gave you Kool-Aid, so it was good.
Yeah, but she was just like, I'd rather you experience alcohol for the first time with me than out in the street with somebody that might take advantage of you.
So, but you said that you had to. So, was there a breakdown in the fact that she was the only parent and she had to be masculine or have that masculine energy at times that didn't allow you to walk in your feminine as a...
I'm going to tell you, because I've done so much inner work and, I'll share my personal story. So my mom was a single parent. I never have met or seen my father. I have a photo of him. He was an officer in the Marines. And so what my mom shared with me is that she loved him. And so my mom has passed on at this time, but I do have an aunt. So she's like my mom's brother's wife, but she's still my Aunt Barbara. And so I still spend time with her. And so she's like a connection to my mom because she was my mom's one of my mom's best friends. And so, Aunt Barbara would kind of fill in the gaps sometimes when I have questions about things. But what I do know is that my mom loved me. My mom loved my father, but when she disclosed that she was pregnant, she had recently, so she had her, let's call it her fling or whatever with him. And then she went and got saved. So, church folks, I'm talking to y'all. So she went and got saved, and then she found out she was pregnant. So of course, being a new Christian, she was not gonna, get rid of me or whatever, but she notified him and he wrote her a letter. So when I was about 15, she shared these letters with me where he basically was saying, hey, I'm married. I'm not leaving my wife. Don't contact me again, get rid of it. Cause, at that point, he didn't know what I was,
wow.
And so I thank my mom for loving me enough not to get rid of me. And she said that an angel came to her and said that God would provide for me, which he has, And so what I'll say with that is my aunt kind of told me how my mom really loved him, and he left. He told my mom they were going to get married. Basically, he was giving her that story that, we're going to get married. And so going back to your original question, I tell that part of the story because I feel like it wasn't the fact that my mom was a single parent, but it's the fact that she never talked bad about my father. Mm-hmm. She didn't really even share about him not even wanting me until I was like 15. By this point, I was already doing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My own self. So I was smelling myself, and we kind of got into a little, piss and match, as you would say.
Oh, so she had to sit you on down.
Yeah, because I was living in Baltimore. So, Baltimore is like the hair capital of the world. So everybody got their bundles, they weave, they colored hair. This is back in the day when we used to wear the fan and we would put a little spray on it. Everybody had their finger waves. And so, I was like, why don't I have name brand clothes? Why can I do all the things that my friends are doing? All my friends were getting child support. Well, I'm not getting child support, so I can go waste up the money at the mall like everybody else. And so she was like, well, you want child support, get it yourself. And so again, going back to her being an educator, I was very resourceful. So living in Baltimore, we ain't had Google back then. I had a 411 to get the phone number to the child support enforcement services here in Virginia to find out that because there was no claim made as an infant, I was too old to start a new claim. And so at that point, when she saw how determined I was to get my child support, that's when she felt it was time to share this information. Yes. Because like I said, for my whole life, she never was that evil, like talking bad about him or anything. And then even after her passing, me and my aunt have had conversations. My aunt was saying how she did take him to court once, but he came in his military uniform and brought his wife and his kids or whatever. So the judge just basically like, hey, don't show your face in my court again. So that goes back to accountability. And so he wasn't held accountable for the action he took to produce this child. And so I had been working, I was working a full-time job. So at the beginning of 2019, I got fired from a job. And that was the first time in my real adult life that I had ever been fired. And I actually hated that job, but I had recently got a new car at the beginning of the year. And so I kind of dug in my heels and you know what, I'm going to just, thug it out. But it's really important to say that what God has for you, he has for you, because they fired me the night before I was already had approved time off to go to New York to do a New York Fashion Week. Okay. So I've been a cut and sew fashion designer for over 30 years. And at that point in time, this was my first time doing New York Fashion Week. And so it was a big deal. Like New York Fashion Week is like a gold star for fashion designers, I feel like. Mm-hmm. And so I was putting my dreams to the side to be a slave in this job that I hated. But God was like, oh no, you're getting out of here. And so they let me go. And I was really gracious. I was laughing, cracking jokes with my boss. She was like, thank you for making it, not such a bad experience. Because I didn't hate the people. I just hated some of the dynamics of the job, So I left with grace, but it gave me an opportunity to travel. I did some movies where I earned a Screen Actors Guild, paid stuff. I just got an opportunity to really grow in so many ways, not just money and in my business. During that time, I had got into a program where I earned the opportunity to pitch the following year and earn $10K and money. And had I been in that job, I wouldn't have had the mental capacity to put into that, to my business that's now a full-fledged business, which is sustainability, to even do the pitch. So everything worked out.
As a fashion designer and being in that industry, because I went to FIT in New York for merchandising, for fashion merchandising.
Right.
Do you find that, so first of all, it's a male dominated. You
think fashion is? Yeah, they're usually it's a the male CEOs. You know, we out here cutting and sewing, and they getting all the money.
It's a male dominated.
Yeah.
You know, you would think that women are the ones, but it's not.
They're not.
Yeah, and they're kind of controlling the things. So do you feel like the women in the fashion industry have to put on that masculine energy in order to get anywhere in the industry?
I think that's a double-edged sword. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like if you want to be a fashion executive, maybe as a designer, you would need to have a certain level of masculine energy, like, you know, the tenacity to keep going, to like go door to door, to find your support, whether it's through an investor, through a workspace, through whatever you need. Like I think about, was it Diane von Furstenberg, I think, that had the wrap dresses. She came from, I don't remember her exact story, but she came from her country with a suitcase full of wrap dresses. She didn't make these wrap dresses, but she came over here and she built a brand off of just knocking on doors, asking people, selling wrap dresses, you know? And I'll speak to Abena Afaro. She's a local here in Hampton Roads, and I absolutely love her. She is from Ghana, and she now has a successful restaurant, but her story is just so powerful. And I hope I'm not misrepresenting her, but from what I understand, she came to this country, she had about maybe $20, and she went from door to door in town center, and she was able to build her fashion brand. And I actually met her at a fashion show, and when I was doing pageants, only 2 designers in my network supported me when I was doing pageants. She actually was one of the fashion designers that supported me, even though they know I could sew my own stuff, but she still made me a skirt to support me when I was doing professional pageants. And just knowing that she came from this country with a little bit of money and was able to knock on business doors around town center to grow her fashion brand. And now she not only owns her fashion brand, she also owns 2 very successful African restaurants here in Hampton Roads.
So some great tenacity.
Yeah, tenacity is really important. So that's one side of it, is having the balls and having the steadfastness to take rejection and keep going. The other side of the fashion industry, I think it's a lot of people out there like Jeffrey Epstein that's like, you know, they want to sleep with the models. They want to sleep with you to be in the show. They want to sleep with you. You know, a lot of situations, the designers, you don't want to sleep with you. And, you know, I'm not built like that. And so I don't take bullying very well. And I learned that through some therapy because I was that person that's really nice until I'm not. And I had bullies. And until that last straw that break the camel back, and then they get beaten to the black top, because like I said, I'm nice until I'm not. And so because of some of the childhood trauma I have around bullying, as an adult, I don't do well in bully situations, whether it's in a job, whether it's in a fashion setting. So I've had to cuss a couple people out, and, you know, I've had to come out of my character. You know, I thank God He's working on me, work in progress. You know,
we all are work in progress.
Thank you, Lord, for having grace.
All are work in progress.
You know, but I do think that there are times when you have to be really in your masculine, but sometimes you have to really walk in your feminine to get what you want.
So how do you help professional women walk in their feminine when they're at work all day and they have to walk in that masculine sense in order to, you know, succeed in that corporate environment?
Okay, so
how do you help them get through that?
So with the Sexy Unicorn, it is a personal development program, and it has 3 pillars. The first one is self-love. The second one is self-discovery. And the third is sisterhood. So even with just the self-love piece, it's about the mindset and how you treat yourself. And just speaking to women individually and in group settings, but let's just say individual client, just kind of working with them on their mindset, helping them to write positive affirmations about their body, about themselves, you know, just kind of talking to them to understanding what it is that they're going through, because everybody's different. Yes. You know, every shoe don't fit the same foot, you know, everything ain't for everybody, you know, and one message might suit you, but somebody else might need me to cuss them out a little bit, you know, give them a little tough love, you know. Right. Somebody might need me to talk real sweet to them, you know, so everybody's a little different. But I just think the number one thing is to sit down with the person and really hear them. really listen to see how they think of themselves, and it took me to just really realize that I don't need outside validation, and that's what really set me free. And so getting people to a point where they're not just walking according to somebody else's standard of what they should be, that they're looking to the second pillar, which is the self-discovery of who are they, not what they do, but who they really are and what their purpose is.
So that's really good.
Yeah.
So not focusing on what they do in order to, form that sexy, but
what they need.
Okay. What they need and who they are inside.
Yeah.
In order to feel that sexy. So if a woman is not feeling sexy, we got a lot of women out there that, they may feel overweight. They may feel like they're not pretty. They may feel like, they're not good enough. They're not any of the things that we think about ourselves that would cause us to feel that we're not sexy.
Right.
Right. What is one thing that you would say to them on how to start changing that around?
I would definitely say positive self-talk. Like if it means writing, I love myself on the mirror. So every morning when you're brushing your teeth, you're looking at your words saying, I love me. I love myself while you're brushing your teeth. While you're washing your face, I love me. I love myself. So I think that's the easiest way is to create a positive affirmation about yourself to yourself that you read and you say. Another thing I learned from just photography, I love that Superwoman pose, like just standing in the mirror with the hands on the, like just, I'm a bad bitch.
Yeah. So saying to yourself what is going to encourage you. Because like you said, everybody is different. Yeah. Some people need that tough love or, that different type of encouragement. Some people you can talk to them softly and smoothly and it's,
But you have to convince yourself. So it could be just something like, hey, say you're working in a male dominated, setting, and you're like, hey, I'm worthy. I deserve to be here. I worked hard. I deserve to be here. My voice matters. The things, whatever it is that you're dealing with, write an affirmation around those things to help yourself to encourage you be your own hype man, basically.
Now you're in fashion. Yes. So a lot of times in corporate, settings, women will wear the suits and they have the power suits and they have those types of things that create that image that they're the boss, right? Which is in that masculine. So even in that setting of being in corporate America, I think you can still have that feminine.
Yes.
So how do you tell them to do that with being that you're in fashion? How do you tell them to soften up with their dress, but still be looked at as the boss?
Well, I think a lot of times you definitely have to have a certain level of professionalism. So like, say, for example, maybe always have a nice blazer or sports coat. One of the looks that I absolutely love is bustiers and blazers. So it's like you have on maybe your wide leg pants and maybe have on a bra top or a bustier, but you have your blazer on that and maybe some jewelry or something, something like that.
That's going to create that feminine, but still give you, I'm the boss or authority here, right? So that's cool. So we have some questions from the audience members, I believe, over there.
So
and you can help me answer these questions too.
I sure can.
Hi. So we have the first question, which is, when your nature is nurturing, how do you prevent becoming a mother figure to your man?
Okay. When your nature is nurturing. Okay. I'm assuming you're talking about women.
Yes.
So when your nature is nurturing, how do you, say it again? How do you
prevent becoming a mother figure to your man?
Oh, okay. I got you. So not treating your man like you treat your children.
Well, I don't have no kids, so real easy for me. I'm like, I'm not your mama. I don't have no kids and I don't do no babysitting. Go clean that up. Because I'm not about to do it.
Understood. I think that you have to be able to create a separation of who that person is for you. Right? So they're not your child. They are an adult just like you. They're your partner. They're not your
project.
Yes. Say it again.
Yeah, I'm looking for a
listen,
partner, not a project.
Yeah. So just being in the space where you recognize that this is a partner that you are speaking to, and not your child. Like make that distinction in your mind.
All right. The second question that we have from the audience is, what can you do to maintain a long distance relationship when texting and FaceTime gets boring?
So I love this question because the person that I'm with now, we've been together for some years now, and we started off like that. So we started off in a long distance relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically for me, I like long distance relationships. I know it's not for everybody,
Right.
but I like them just because I like my space.
Yeah.
That's just who I am. I could be in a big, gigantic house, but I still want my own space where I can be, I can relax, I can meditate, I can just be me, right? But if you're in a long distance relationship, we did a lot of things. We did virtual dates. So he would order food. Wow. It would get delivered, or I would go pick it up, and then we would literally sit in, on FaceTime or whatever, or Zoom or whatever, and we would just have a date. Like we were talking to each other at a restaurant. So we would do that. Definitely, if you have the means, actually seeing one another, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's a plane, a train, or, whatever, meet each other halfway. That's a thing. Mm-hmm. But really getting into a space where you're getting in person is going to be, beneficial for that relationship. But going on virtual dates, and there's a lot of things that you can do. We watched movies together. We did a lot of stuff together. We actually did, because during the pandemic, they were doing virtual tours of museums.
Oh yeah, I remember
we did that. So it's a couple of things that we've gone to. We've done a Barnes and Noble date where we're on the phone with each other and we're looking at books and reading poetry together.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that you can do when you're long distance that can keep you, bonded and closer. Yep.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I've been in long distance relationships before, and I just definitely feel like getting together whenever you can, but getting to know the person, sending a care package. Like one thing that I'm really big on is I've been learning about my own love languages. And even though I've never really read a book, I keep saying I'm gonna, but I have mine ranked. So I know my number one is acts of service. But I also know that is my number one for other people. Like I like serving and helping other people too. Mm-hmm. So I think as you get to know your partner, maybe learn about what their love language is. So if it's gift giving, maybe send them some flowers. If it's physical touch, maybe, book them a massage and just say, hey, imagine if that's me touching you or something. Mm-hmm. So I think that you can just kind of get creative with it. And then I still feel like communication is the key to relationships in general, whether it is in person or virtual.
And we want to take this opportunity right now, since you were talking about, you're single and you're talking about dating and all of that, to thank our sponsors. So we have a segment called the Blind Date segment, where we allow singles to come on and we kind of match them up. Yeah. We treat them to, a restaurant, and they're able to come back on the show and tell us about their date. So we definitely want to thank our sponsor, Legal Seafoods, and the Yard House in Town Center.
And they good, y'all. They have vegan options too.
They are. And we give you a little gift card, and you get to go and really spend some time with someone and try to get to know them. Awesome. Absolutely. So if you're interested in that, make sure you go to thedatingmechanic.com, fill out your application so that we can get you on the show. So I posted on my Facebook page, and if you are not following me on Facebook, you really should, because I just talk about everything and we get a little crazy on there. But it is The Dating Mechanic, right? And you can go on that page and you can actually have conversations with us. It's a whole thing. So I posted about Chris Brown. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Chris Brown is doing his tour right now, and he is taking pictures with young ladies for $1,000.
And they paying it too, ain't they?
And they paying it, but he's doing some risque type of photos. Mm-hmm. So he's grabbing their butt. Like, I'm not talking about hand on the butt. I'm talking
I saw that
about
one. He had that thing.
He had that thing, right?
He had that thing.
So
Yes, he did.
you know, he's doing the cupping. A lot of cupping going on.
$4,000. You know what?
$4,000.
I mean,
like, how do y'all feel about that? Audience members, how do y'all feel about that?
Y'all can let me know if y'all want me to grab y'all butt for $1,000. I'll do it.
You do it. I mean, but you know, you ain't Chris Brown, though.
I mean, somebody just might want their butt grabbed. I mean, $4,000. I've heard people pay more for less.
People into that. I'm just saying, people into that. They all into all kind of things. OnlyFans, you know.
Yeah, you know.
Thing. But I think like that's a real conversation because Chris Brown is a star.
Yeah,
he's not somebody. Somebody said on my post, if he didn't charge the lady, then that's something that you need to be worried about. But Chris is about his money. So he's not worried about it. He just wants the money. Now, if he decide not to charge that one girl, that's the one that you got to be worried about.
I don't know. So this is kind of how I feel about it. All these people writing comments, they wasn't there. The girl could have said, hey, I want you just to like do something freaky to me, Chris. She could have said anything to him before she took the picture. So she may have given him consent. It's not like we saw her.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they all
gave
all
consent.
of them.
Right.
I would not be surprised if he had them sign something that said,
right.
you know, this is what you're agreeing to. But
so what's the exact question? I'm sorry. Help me understand.
So it's like, how would you feel if you were in a relationship? And it could be reversed. It could be Beyonce, or it could be anybody, and they're doing these risque photos with the person that you're with. Would you break up with them? Where
my cut, dog? Let me stop. No,
you
seriously.
want to cut? I'm not mad about that.
You know, no, seriously. I would say, going back to what I said before, it's all about communication. So hopefully these women already told their partners, hey, man, I'm going to the Chris Brown concert. I'm about to spin a band. And if I get in there with him, don't judge me. Give me my hall pass for the night, you know, as long as I ain't going all in doing the nasty.
We do talk about hall passes, right?
You know, as long as they're not having intercourse, you know, they're not having intercourse.
They have the chance to meet Chris Brown, and it's like, ooh, what if that is they hall pass? Like, it's a whole thing.
You know, because I feel like me personally, I guess because that I have a lot of life experiences and different things, I feel like, you know, it don't matter what a person, you know, do. Like if you say, oh, you can't go see Chris Brown, you can't go to the strip club. These dudes or females or whoever you dating, the day people, because, you know, it's like he, she, and they,
right? You
know, so I've been in jobs where the manager was out screwing in the car, you know, because so he's at work all day. Terrible. And you know, we know what he's doing in the branch. His wife probably thinking everything's all good, but he's getting his cookies on the clock. Because he was salary, so it's not like he had to punch out in it.
So you're saying if they would have communicated.
But all I'm saying is people are going to do what they want to do, regardless whether it's pictures and whether, you know, people going to do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like...
So that communication,
it's
that
really
trust.
Key. That communication, that trust, that strong foundation, you know,
so you're saying
expectations.
Expectations. So are you saying it's not disrespectful as long as you communicate?
Yeah, as you communicate that with your partner. I feel like if I was married, you know, I might have a certain respect for myself that, hey, I'm a married woman. I'm not gonna go out here and let any man, whether it's Chris Brown or anybody, grab my butt because I'm a married woman. But if say I'm just dating and I'm not married to this person and I'm just like, hey, babe, you know I love Chris Brown and I'm going to this concert. I'm about to drop a band. And so don't hold anything against me. I promise I won't go to his room with him. But if he want to grab these cheeks, I'm just letting you know, babe, he can grab these cheeks. And I still love you. And, you know.
Grabbing the cheeks. Like that should be the title of this show.
Yeah, grab the cheeks. So I'm like, babe, you know, you can come, you know, I'm coming home to you, babe, after the show. We can get it in. Whatever you want me to do. You want me to stand on my head, do a split
you said, but I'm going to get this picture with Chris Brown.
You know what I'm saying? So I just really feel like if your boyfriend or spouse is like, hey, babe, I know you love Chris Brown, but I really don't want him grabbing your cheeks. Okay. I feel like at that point, now you're being disrespectful. If y'all have had a conversation and he's telling you how much he doesn't want you to go out
and
here
I think most people would be like, yeah, I don't want Chris
I've dated some people that are very like open. It's like, you know, like think about all the guys out here that are married to or date adult entertainers, whether it's a stripper, whether it's a porn star, whether it's a bartender. You know, like I've seen some bartenders get wild and crazy.
But is that the normal? Like, are we normally... dating strippers or dating, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not
that's the
knocking
thing,
anybody's
is that
profession.
What is
right?
normal? Because that's the thing. These bartenders, strippers, porn stars, they're normal. They have kids, they have houses, they work, they pay taxes just like you.
So it's just a job, just like
it's just a job,
any
like
other
anything
job.
else, like any other job. It's just like a nurse. How many nurses' butts you think got grabbed in them short little nursey outfits? Just like a police officer that's put on them cuffs and somebody probably done grabbed them boobs, while they,
I hope
tussling.
not.
I mean, you just never know about contact.
Well, I mean, we've heard about
Mrs. Officer. Let's ask Lil Wayne about that. Mrs. Officer. So all I'm saying is that regardless of Chris Brown as an entertainer, and we all know he is edgy. And, we had a comment from the audience that was saying, knowing his track record, why would you even want him to grab your butt? And I'm going to respond to that by saying, if Rihanna can forgive him, so can I.
Oh. That is,
And two up, two down all day. Chris Brown, I love you.
Okay.
Two up, two
I
down.
think we just have a fan here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I think that everybody has their own preference, and that's cool. Like you said, just respecting boundaries and respecting and having communication and respecting. This is what we agreed on.
Yeah.
If this is our agreement and you're going over our agreement, there are consequences to breaking agreements, right? I'm going to react a certain way, or something's going to happen because of it. But it's, if we are being honest with one another, like someone said, like, are you really going to ever see Chris Brown again?
Yeah.
Like if this is something that is either your fantasy, like you said, now I'm coming home and I'm being with you.
I'm going to do whatever you want to do.
And I'm going to do whatever you want me to do. You know what I mean?
Let's
that kind
go.
of thing. I think it's personal preference.
Yeah.
I think it's another show where we can talk about control and having control over your partner, having to have control over your partner
too,
in a relationship. But
I think it's like also it feeds into that topic, the age-old topic of what is cheating. Because, a lot of times it's emotional, and like somebody might feel like, oh, let's just say that girl that had her butt grabbed went to this concert and has a boyfriend and didn't even tell the boyfriend she was going to the concert to see Chris Brown, and now some man is grabbing her butt. Is that cheating? He might feel disrespected. I think it kind of goes into too. I mean, like you said, you spend in a band. Are our bills paid? And you spend $1,000 or, and it may very well be. But where could we have put that money? Separate?
But then again, you could think.
What if all her bills is paid and he a bum?
Oh, not the bum. But hold on. But wait a minute. I'm
just saying. But hypothetically.
Let's go further into that, because what if you do have all of your bills paid?
Yes.
So now are we, where else can we put that money that's going to further us being financially stable?
You can travel to Ghana and invest in some property.
Okay. And then on the other hand of that, we only live once.
That's right.
So
YOLO.
Are we supposed to be living it up? Like, it's a lot we can go to that conversation.
Yeah,
do we have another question from the audience? I see you flag.
We do. Someone, speaking of communication, asked, what was the best way to communicate an issue?
Oh, well, we were just talking about that. Best way to communicate an issue is to sit down with that person when you're not angry at whatever the issue is.
I agree.
Right? So having an opportunity to sit back and be calm within yourself, have your points, because a lot of times we will just start rambling off and then we go venture into other areas of what happened yesterday and 3 years ago and all of the things. So really staying on point. So have your points of what you want to discuss in that conversation, and really just, be able to not only say your points, but to listen to what that other person is saying as well. It's communication. And effective communication is hearing the thing, internalizing the thing, and the actions that go with it.
I agree.
So,
what I would like to add to that is just coming from a management standpoint and counseling standpoint, I think about the way that you structure the conversation. Like, and they taught us about, like, say, the sandwich technique. Maybe you'll start off with something positive, like, hey, I really would like for us to talk about something. I love being in this relationship with you, but these are some things that I've had on my mind. And then go into negative stuff, and then maybe reinforce that I do really love you and I do enjoy the time we spend together. So maybe think about starting out with a positive reinforcement, giving the get to the point. Don't be no passive aggressive person, but maybe start off in a positive way and try to end in a positive way. The other thing that I've learned that I like to implement in my own relationships is not making it about you, but making it about me. Like, I feel disrespected when this happens. Instead of like, you out here in these streets making me look crazy, and now you disrespecting me. So instead of like that, that meme with the cat and the lady like this to the cat, instead of doing that, but like, hey babe, I really want to talk about this. I feel really disrespected when you go and take pictures with Rihanna and you let her grab your thing. I just,
that's just
I
not it
understand
for
it's
me.
Rihanna. I know it's a one time, but I just want to let you know that I did feel a little bit disrespected, but yeah, I'm gonna be going to Chris Brown next week. He's gonna be grabbing my butt. So,
No, it's the whole
we'll be
thing.
even.
It's the whole
I
thing.
love you, babe.
But you said something key too about that is using I statements and not
Yes.
putting it on the other person. These are your feelings.
Yeah.
Your feelings are valid. You can have all the feelings that you like, but make sure you own those feelings. Those belong to you, and not to push those onto the other person. Completely own those feelings.
Own your stuff, man.
Yeah, own your stuff. Yeah, absolutely. One more question?
We have one more.
Yes, one more question.
Okay. Relationships are tiring. What do you love about relationships, and what motivates you to help people with relationships?
Also, this question is for me. Okay, I love this question. And I tell people all the time, when singles come to me and they say, oh, I want to be in a relationship and I want to get married or whatever the case may be. And I ask them this question, I say, okay, why? Simple. Why do you want to be in a relationship? Why do you want to get married? And a lot of people say, well, I just want somebody to love. And I just want somebody to love me. And I go, you're not ready to be in a relationship. You're just not ready. And they go, why? And I go, because relationships are way more than I want someone to love me and I want to love someone, right? Because you're talking about, well, first of all, there's a difference between marriage and relationships. So that's a whole conversation in itself. But relationships are there for you to grow in your personal growth and as a couple. So if you're not on the lines of, I want to be in a relationship because I want to personally grow. I realize that I may not be as mature as I'd like to be in some areas of my life, and I want to grow those areas. I want to go to another level of maturity or understanding of myself. Right. And so I want to be with somebody who's going to help me grow that and foster that, right? Instead of saying, oh, I just want someone to pour into me, because that's really what you're saying. I want somebody to love me. I want someone to pour into me, but are you willing to be that person that's going to reciprocate and pour out to that person? So when people say to me, oh, I just want somebody to love, and, I really have to question whether they're actually ready to be in a relationship, because what needs do you need filled? Right. And what are you willing to do for a relationship in order to make it work? Yeah. So, yeah.
I would just love to add to that, because even though I'm not a dating coach, I do feel like the Sexy Unicorn program does fall under relationships with self. Because as I mentioned, the first pillar is self-love, the second is self-discovery, and the third is that sisterhood. But instead of sisterhood, we just say relationship, because I feel like Will Smith made a statement when there was a lot of stuff going on with him and Jada, and he was saying that he quit. He quit trying to make her happy. And he just talked about how when you come to a relationship, you both need to come with your cups already full. It's not his job to pour anything in her cup to make her full. So he had to figure out how to be happy on his own and already be full when he came to that relationship with her. And she had to go and do whatever she needed to do to fill her cup and be happy and be full. And together, them coming together with two full cups, overflowing in love together. And, I really like that. And so that's one of the things that encouraged me to make sure that I fill my own cup. So that's why I say in that order, the self-love and that self-discovery, because you need to know who you are to fill you up before you join any group. So I always tell people, before you be a joiner somewhere, you need to be, like, was it me find me? Like they say, oh, you're part of a sorority. No, but me find me. You need to know what your bylaws are. what your standards are, what your goals are, what your passion is, what kind of food you like to eat, what you like to do. And then that way, know thyself. So if you spend that time building that relationship with self, then when you're ready to enter into a union, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a sorority, whether it is, whatever it is, a partnership, a business, any type of relationship, you still need to come to that relationship already full and already happy and already knowing who you are. So I think it's really important to help people from the coaching standpoint to maybe help with the mindset piece of knowing themselves and building that relationship with self first.
I love when Will Smith talks about his relationship in that sense. I don't know that people need to come with their cup already full to a relationship. I think that they need to understand how to fill their own cup. And I think that's really what he was trying to say, is that I can't pour into her cup in certain ways because she has to do that on her own. And that's the whole thing about relationship as well. And people understanding, as the question was asked, people really understanding that you can't partners everything.
Right.
You just can't. There are some things that you're not going to be able to fulfill for them because you're just unable to.
Right.
If we only focused on fulfilling our partners, we would never have time for ourselves or for us to build our own selves up.
Yeah.
People need to learn how, just like as a child, you had pacifier or you had to learn how to pacify yourself. As an adult, you have to learn how to pacify yourself.
Girl, as an only child, I was my first best friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to learn how to pacify yourself even as an adult. So this has been a great show. Thank you for coming on
welcome.
and participating.
It's been fun.
Let us know where we can find out more about you.
Well, I would say the easiest way, guys, is to just go to the internet and just search my name. I have my own branded website, www.Sonya, SONYAZ, like a zebra, Phillips, PHILLIPS. So SonyaZPhillips.com. That's the easiest way. I'm on Instagram as Stretch Couture. That is my fashion brand. I also am on there for the body contouring is Dream Shape 757. And then for the Sexy Unicorn, if you just type in Sexy Unicorn with 3 X's, and I say the 3 X's because we all have that little nasty inside of us. Those 3 X's on the inside.
On the inside. On the inside. Not on the outside.
On the inside.
On the inside.
That triple X on the triple X is in there. It's in all of us. But it's SEX.X.X.Y unicorn on Instagram. And if you search Sonya Z Phillips, if you put the Z in there, I usually will come up. And like I said, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, I'm everywhere, y'all. LinkedIn is like the professional me.
All the things.
All the things.
Okay. So with that, be sure to subscribe to the Dating Mechanic YouTube channel so that you can get the ding and you can get the next podcast. We will see you next time on the Dating Mechanic Show.